had things like excuse duty.
Yeah.
If you're ill, in fact, you carry your excuse duty in your pocket because you know anywhere you go to was punishment, was what you call it now, exercise, right? When a senior calls you, come here, sit on your head, you bring out your excuse duty and say, look, I cannot do this, I cannot do that. They tell you to sit. Okay, sit and wait. But in their own case, all those exceptions might have not been in place because there is no expectation to meet. So for someone to just come in and just introduce something in there, that person should be held accountable.
Okay. So coming now here to the UK, where we know it is totally unacceptable for anybody to hit anybody, to assault anybody. There's no justification for it. Recently, we have seen, especially in the African Nigerian community, we have seen a lot of cases of domestic abuse, also known as domestic violence. Okay. Now, I must state that domestic violence is not just a physical thing. It could be emotional, it could be mental, it could be sexual, it could be even between parents and children. That's also being referred to as domestic violence. So we see a lot of that. In fact, I attended a recent a meeting, and this was being discussed in the Nigerian community. And it's become a norm, especially for those who have just jackpad. I want us
to those that who have just come into the
UK.
Right, okay.
I've been giving it a lot. It's been a concern for me because you see families being divided, being separated because of these issues. And I was saying to somebody recently that these things didn't just start today. So can you just help me? You're a man. Help me to understand. I mean, yes, women do abuse men too, but when we look at numbers, we find out that it's from the men. We find this, it's more on that side. Yes. So I want us to just talk about it and how this is affecting us because...
Well, I think the key issue is a lot of people find it hard to separate, to kind of, what I try to do, right, as a man is, if, let me not use myself, right, generally, right, when you come into this country, anywhere you go to, there are rules that you need to adhere to, right? If that country states don't smack your child, you don't hit them. Or don't hit your child, don't hit them. They will have allowable punishments. You take things away from them and all that. You need to adhere to that. Otherwise, you get yourself in trouble. Now, for men that come to this country and beat their wife or touch their wives, I'll tell them straight, stop it. You're just going to mess your life up. And I've been in this country for 20 years now, right? I've seen people that have come after me and they've messed their lives up. Some of them even end up in jail. They lose their home. They lose everything. Even when it's not their fault. I'm not saying it's not about who is right here, but it's about what you do, your reaction. So you come into this country, you need to be able to separate culture.
Exactly, because I think that's very important.
Yeah. Separate culture, carry culture, put here. Carry religion, put here. Carry, religion, culture, carry your marriage, put here. Now,
separate them.
Treat them as different entities. When you see your marriage going into culture and picking culture and see it as a bonus. Now, I'm not saying any woman should disrespect any man first, or any man should disrespect his wife. But if you're not happy with it, please don't lay your hands. Just jejely or pack your load
and go
and
move away.
Because it's. I'm not saying this is not just so that you break marriages, but it's just to save the person, right? But at the same time, prepare your mind as a man. If I were you, when I'm in any situation whereby I'm at that point where I have to hit someone, I'd rather discuss it, right? Discuss the possible outcomes, right? Where if we continue in certain ways, and discuss how things can get better, right? That way, we could actually sit back and think and say, okay, yeah, this is what we can do. This is what we can do. But some men, I'm not talking about men that will just sit at home and their wives doing everything. No.
So you see that's usually another part of the problem, you see,
Okay.
where we found out that some of these victims, I call them, I will call them victims, but that these things have happened to you. We'll find out that there was a case where the woman was saying she was the only one working, and she'll come back from work. The husband will still insist that she has, after maybe like a 12-hour shift,
Wow.
the husband will still insist that she must prepare his food. And of course, she's exhausted, she's tired, the children are still there. He's not helped out with anything. She's still got to do assignments with the children, remembering that she has another shift the following morning, and he still expects that she does everything she's meant to do. And to be honest, we are all human beings with blood in our veins. We are likely going to get to that point, I'll call it breaking point, where we are stressed out, and you find out that you start reacting, or you're burnt out and you start reacting. And most times you feel that that's what happens. There's a reaction. And the woman is, I can't do this again. And the guy, starts, you have to, it's your duty, you have to cook home, you have to do this. And they get into an argument. Before you know anything, somebody's hitting somebody. This video that was trending recently about the man who was caught on camera. First of all, he started with verbal abuse. The woman was trying to avoid him as much as possible. There were some exchanges. She was calm, all true. But, I think there was something she said, and I think she said she was going to call her dad or something like that. Escalated, and before we knew anything, he was picking up stuff and just throwing. Luckily, she was wise enough to hide. Now, I was just saying that imagine if that couple now come into the UK and he tries this sort of thing and he's caught on camera. Of course, she goes to the police. We all know what's going to happen. He's going to be detained. He's definitely going to serve his term, his jail term, and most likely he'll be deported.
Yeah.
Now, when he goes, everybody will say, this woman is a very wicked woman.
Well, to be honest, it doesn't matter where. UK, Nigeria, Kenya, anywhere, you shouldn't abuse any woman. And in fact, not even abuse anyone. No one should be abused.
Yes,
right?
yes.
And the government need to take things like that seriously. And I'm happy that in Nigeria, we have a movement for that. But, well, there's another bit of that movement that's kind of picking on people, but I don't want to go into that. But as long as the movement does what it's meant to do, right, without victimizing anyone, going to really curtail people that abuse others, that's fantastic. So in the UK, when you come to the UK, and like that scenario you painted now, if that happens, camera being seen on camera and all that, obviously you know what's going to happen. Well, she might end up pressing charges, and that's it.
And sometimes she might end up keeping quiet. Look at the other case, the case we had last year, November into December, and eventually he killed her.
Oh,
remember that case? Worse. Yeah, so sometimes people don't talk, and we are quiet about these things. Either the man or the woman, we are silent, and that's where I think we should be telling people, no matter what it is.
No matter what. And I will say, this is what I always say. I personally, I've never raised my hands on my wife, right? And I've not seen my dad do that to my mom either. So I would say that no matter what happens, you don't raise your hands, right? On women, if you want to fight, right, go and pick up a hobby, boxing, right? And fight your mate.
Yeah.
You can even do that for fun and enjoy it and go back home and sleep. Not turn your wife to a punching bag and all that. So the moment you get to that point, the moment you get to the point whereby you have to start beating your wife, please, you guys sit down and say, this is not working for us, right? I say this, if I get to that point, I'm definitely going to call and say, come, this is not working. I'm at that point where, I probably will lose it. It's not working for us. I'll leave. In fact, I will even wait for the wife to leave the house. I will be the one to leave the house. Because if I don't leave, I might end up in the kiri, bell
Where we
mash,
don't want to be.
bell mash. But we don't. I just feel it's not proper.
Yes.
It's nothing. It's not even ideal. Anybody that calls himself a man that is beating, even if it's my friend, I know that you're beating your wife. You're irritating me. You get?
But in that case, you should even report the person.
No, yeah. See, the thing is, right?
It's a very dicey one, I know.
I have seen a place where a man was beating a woman, and I fought the guy.
Oh wow!
Yeah. I didn't even know what was going on because first, he could have, anything could have happened to the woman.
True.
In fact, let me tell you, he slapped the woman and she fell inside gutter.
Whoa.
I was with my friends and we rushed this guy.
Whoa.
We didn't know what happened.
His match.
We didn't know what happened. Did she stab him or anything?
No
whatever. There was absolutely zero.
You didn't have to know what happened.
Reason.
Yes.
We rushed him because what was he going to do to her next? He was there and he was standing and watching. I'm not violent, but at times you have to stand.
Yeah.
And really do something.
True.
Right? So, these things, they're not meant to be happening that way, but there are people, that encourage it as well, When you see it happening, like you said, maybe report it or even stop it.
Yes.
If you can't stop it yourself, report it. Right.
Thank you very, very much, Mr. Abdul. It's been an amazing time. I know we have taken a lot of your time, but it was worth every second. And we want to say we appreciate you and we hope to bring you back on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you had an amazing time. Word and note from me, whatever it is, please stay away from violence. Do not, and I repeat, do not raise your hands against anybody, be it your child, your spouse, your sibling, whoever it is. Avoid provocation. Yeah. Any word of advice from you too?
Well, I can only echo what you've just said. Just stay away, right? If you want to discipline the kids, nobody is saying don't smack, right? But just do it nicely in a way that you don't cause any harm to your child. We want to ensure that our children behave well, right? We want to ensure, don't punish them unnecessarily as well. Just ensure that you're guiding them compared to actually making them lose their self-confidence. So that's for children, and for your wives, just make sure you talk, to be honest. Have conversation. During that conversation, both of you will know, right, if it's going the right way or not. Otherwise,